Number 2 is interesting because it looks like we only have one complex number, but what we really have is one complex number that we're squaring, 3 plus 2i, and we're squaring that number. So it doesn't look like we can do the box method, but we should know that squaring a number literally means taking that number and multiplying it by itself. So 3 plus 2i squared means 3 plus 2i times 3 plus 2i. So that means I am simply going to do the box method of 3 plus 2i with itself. So let's do that. So the first one is going to be 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay, 3 times 2i is 6i. Okay, this next one's going to be 2i times 3, which will once again be 6i. And 2i times 2i is going to be 4i squared. All right, and if we put everything together, we end up with 9. And then 6i and 6i becomes 12i plus 4i squared. Now we're going to do the same thing we did over here in number 1. So I'm going to make 4i squared. I squared is equal to -1. So this is really going to be 4 times -1, which is -4. And we'll go ahead and we'll drop everything down. Okay, then we'll combine our like terms. So 9 and -4 becomes 5. 9 and -4 combines to 5. So we end up with 5 plus 12i. And that is our answer for number 2. Okay. Number 3. Okay, number 3, we have 3 plus 2i times 3 minus 2i. And something interesting happens on this one, which is why I wanted to do this example with you. So 3 plus 2i and 3 minus 2i. So 3 times 3 is going to be 9. Okay. 3 times 2i is going to be 6i. Okay, this one right here is 3 times -2i is going to be -6i. And -2i times +2i is going to be a -4i squared. All right, and if we put everything together, we end up with 9. And then what happens here? I have 6i and -6i. 6i and -6i actually cancel each other out. So 6i and -6i cancel each other out. So I end up with 9 minus 4i squared, which of course I can now simplify since I squared is equal to -1. Okay. -4 times -1 is going to be a +4. So if I drop that 9 down, I end up with 9 plus 4, which is 13. Now, what's interesting about this one is I had two complex numbers that I multiplied together, and when I multiplied them together, I ended up with a real number. I ended up with 13, no I involved. And that happens. It turns out that these two complex numbers up here, 3 plus 2i and 3 minus 2i, these are known as conjugates. These are known as conjugates. A conjugate is basically you have the same complex number, except one has plus in the middle, and one has minus in the middle. So it looks like the same number, except you have 3 plus 2i, 3 minus 2i. So the same numbers, just plus or minus in the middle. That's the only difference. And it turns out when you have two conjugates like this, when you multiply them, you end up with a real number like we did here. So what I would like you to do with your cool down today, your cool down is going to be 3 examples just like the ones I did here. So if you followed along with these examples, you should be able to do the cool down. That is it for today's lesson.